These are my INWA notes from March 8th, 2012. First, we'll go over the classification review. This week we'll be studying Nigeria. Here are a few terms we need to know. Stylization, olokun, lost wax technique, mudfish, and the king that we need to know about is Oni, and he's from the Ife tribe. Something the professor had to add in the beginning of the lecture was this. Sinan's signature mark is continual usage of geometric designs as part of Islamic language. The Mosque of Salem II basically deals with an alternation in between two different colored stones. These are put in for design purposes, and it's a part of geometric design. It represents unity, regularity, and perfection of God. Sinan didn't invent it though. However, it became a very prominent part of Islamic architecture. Here's the classification we have to make. This here is Oni. And here's how we would classify it. Oni, Nigeria, the Ife tribe, 14th to 15th century. Oni, from Nigeria, the Ife tribe, 14th to 15th century. This is made out of brass, and it's another leader. You can tell because of the headdress, which is also known as a crown, as well as he's decked out in jewelry. Most of his jewelry is beads, and this is considered a representation of wealth. Now, why is the body so small? You're about to find out. The head is the center of who you are. It deals with the brain, the heart, intelligence, spirit, soul, and your emotions. This is very important in Nigerian culture. Most portraits just depict the head in terms of the Oni sculpture. The body is not important, so why waste the brass? So the Oni sculpture was truncated. Shrunken, basically. The emphasis is always on the head in Nigerian cultures. Now let's go over the lost wax technique. Over life-size sculptures are hollow inside. Since it depends on wax disappearing, it came to be known as the lost wax technique. So all metal goes through a casting process called lost wax technique. Here's the lost wax technique. First, you sculpt the whole thing in clay first because it's easily moldable. Number 2, you then put half an inch to an inch of wax all over. You are then going to shape it down to detail. The lost wax technique continued. Number 3, once you're done, you cover the whole thing with another clay. You don't have to shape it this time, but you have to make sure there are outside holes so air flows to where the wax is. Number 4, you then put it in a kennel and heat the whole thing. The clay on the outside and the inside will harden, and the wax part melts. Number 5, you then flip it so that all the residue comes out. Then there's an empty space of an inch to half an inch in between inner clay and the outer clay. The lost wax technique continued. Number 6, you then pour molten metal in through the hole you made and it goes where the wax was. Number 7, the final step, you let it cool, and then the liquid brass becomes solidified, and now you can knock down the clay outside the outer mold. Then you're finished. Now, Oni is the king, aka Oba. King means Oba. And king is considered to be divinely inspired. They have some supernatural powers within themselves. Once they die, their image is made so they can be continually worshipped. It's unusual to have an entire body. They usually only depict the head. The king is not only wealthy, but he's also the source of wealth. He also has something like a scepter in his hand to show he's the one in power. That's what Oni had, the scepters. The sculpture is not all metal on the inside, only outside. Olo- Olukon, the god of waters, sea and rivers. Fishing became important and they had enough structure to begin to trade with other countries using boats and ships. Olo- Olukon is the most important god in their culture. The emphasis on particular on a particular god represents something of what they actually do. Snakes and birds represent something of the supernatural power of the Oba. Here are a few terms you need to know. Stylization is close to life with some exaggeration. The mudfish is a particular fish that can wiggle through the sand so they can be both inland and water. This is considered supernatural, hence they came to represent Olukon himself. Here's a picture of what the mudfish looks like. And this is all you need to know.